Hey everyone, Catch 'em All Collectibles here. In today's video, we are going to start with I promise, a very quick one slide PowerPoint. Not really a presentation much here. I just laid out my thoughts on one slide and I kind of wanted to show off. A lot of people said, same plain PowerPoint template. Why don't you make one of your own? So I did. Let me know what you think. I got the branding colors in there. I got the logo at the bottom. But yeah, is selling pay to win? That's our discussion for today. Seller strategies, buyer tips, things like that. You have to pay to play. Advertising. Essentially, that's what I'm talking about here. Advertising. A lot of people demonize it in our hobby, in our space, in the cardboard space for whatever reason. I've talked about it with respect to MetaZoo, the whole rant I went on about billboards and this and that. But yeah, every day you are being assaulted with advertisements, essentially. Billboards, end caps in stores, commercials. I mean, so many times you are being targeted. And the reason that is because consumers are fickle. And I've mentioned it many times, allergic to money. So your attention as a consumer is very valuable. And there are ways to capitalize on that. It's just whether you like it or not, that is a massive part of selling, is just capturing people's attention. And in certain instances, you have to pay for that, right? Just inherently, if you're selling on eBay, if you're selling on TCG Player, wherever you're selling, whatever platform you're on, you are paying for their advertising dollars, for what they've done to establish their market, to bring consumers to you. So it's something you do, even if you're not going above and beyond, paying for ads on top of the base fees, wrapped up in eBay's 12% fee, wrapped up in TCG Player's 15% fee, is advertising. So a couple things I want to discuss, just advertising in general, but the buy box. I think a lot of people, some people might know what I'm talking about here, but I will just walk through Amazon. I will show you a specific item on Amazon. I will show you what the buy box is. TrollandToad. It's a new thing that just showed up at TrollandToad a few months ago. And very relevant as a seller, as a buyer, being aware of what these things are and how they work, and deciding whether or not you want to buy your way into them. The next one is probably something that'll touch more people than will Amazon or TrollandToad's Buy Box, because functionally eBay's best match and promoted listings are analogous to the Buy Box on Amazon and TrollandToad. And at the end, stay tuned till the end. Maybe use, if you don't have the time, if you could skip to the end with the timestamp down below. I'm gonna do a little kind of a test that will ultimately lead to a video I do in the future on optimizing listing titles. I'm just gonna show you a card and I'm gonna ask you to type in the comments what search terms exactly would you put into eBay if you were trying to buy that card. I think it'll be really interesting to just see how people search differently for the same exact card, because what you want to do at the end of the day is optimize your listing title to match what people are actually searching. But anyways, continuing on. First thing I have, I showed this off in a recent live stream just last week. I bought, you can't really see the photos, but you can see the titles. And right below me, as I scroll down, I'll cover these two columns, but this column here is sold quantity. This column is available quantity. For every single one, I just have quantity 1. I recently bought, it was almost 50 PSA 10 Celebrations Charizards. And I have about only half left in less than a week. These cards are liquid. Very, very liquid. But anyways, one test that I wanted to run, and I've been very happy with the results. I listed a couple of them, low list on eBay. I have 50 different ones, so I listed about 10 listings total, 10 listings at one time. And you can see right here in the promoted listings column, these first 3, even 4, 5. So the first 5 or 6 are not even promoted whatsoever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the first 6 are not promoted whatsoever. I listed low list. Low list was $230 at the time. I went $229.90, $229.95. These listings originally, I think the first one sold for $219.99 maybe. $224.99, $227.99. I've sold a few and I've stepped up the price a couple dollars each time, because as you generate sales history, you creep up in the best match. The algorithm likes sales history. The algorithm likes past quantity sold. When eBay spends their consumers' attention on your listing and you convert with a sale for them, they will be more prone to pushing your listing. It makes sense. You make them make money, they'll help make you money. But yeah, one thing I did, I went through and I listed a couple low lists, and then I just peppered a couple dollars on top of each, moving on up. And then I started promoting. So at $250, I threw in my first promoted listing. eBay knows that this is a very popular search term. They probably know that this is a fairly high price. They're suggesting 12% ad rate on this card. I only went with 2%. But what I did was I went with 2%, and then I went with one unpromoted at $250 just to see if any would be fed, if any would be sold. And then I went on up, getting very extreme. I'm very thankful, very glad to report that none of these higher listings have sold. I was kind of worried that it was really going to be pay to win. I was really worried that like a $300 listing, a 12% ad rate, functionally how that works, you pay a 12% base fee when you have a store to sell a card. 12% on $300 is $36. So I would pay $36 if I sold a $300 item unpromoted. This one, I'm offering them an additional $36. I'm saying, hey, eBay, instead of charging me $36, take $72 from me and sell this card. Because functionally what that does, 300 less 72 is 228. I would nearly net what I am grossing here. But thankfully, eBay isn't that pay to win. And we'll see in the search results when I search for a Celebrations PSA 10 Charizard how high this ranks. I'm kind of proud of the consumers for not having clicked on this one. I tried it. I'm probably going to end the experiment in the next week or two. I'm really interested, though, to see that none of these has sold. And I will discuss in the coming minutes. Hopefully, we'll keep this one under like half an hour. But I will discuss if or when I think it is best to use the pay-to-play eBay promoted listings, buying that buy box. Seemingly, with this card, it's not been worth it. So I've been able to sell one of this listing at $235, probably at the time that these two had sold out. 7 of these at $230 to $220, and then 3 of them at $230. So just a little bit of an experiment that I ran, given that I had such vast quantity. And the results are that I've not had to pay to play. I've just been able to low list a highly liquid card, and people are buying it. People are buying it like crazy. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about, as I mentioned, more relevant to Amazon, the buy box. So when I'm on Amazon as a consumer, I search out, okay, I go to catchemallcollectibles.com, link in the description below, and I click on the tab with all the affiliate links for the products that I use. One of the items is a C920X webcam. I have 3 of them. I have the face cam, I have a desk cam here, and then I have a camera for watching Snorlax. At some point, it might be like a clock cam or maybe a dog cam. Occasionally, my dog's here sleeping next to me while I work. But for now, this camera, if you want to just buy it prime, we're a consumer, you throw it in front of us, I have $70, I want a camera, give it to me. Buy now, boom, one click, done. But, and with this item, it's not very drastic, but with other items, it gets more drastic. Most people, many people probably don't even know this exists. But if you scroll down, there are used and new from $58. I wouldn't want to buy a used electronic like that personally, but even new still, $68.50. It's only $1.50 on $70. It's only 2%. It's not a huge deal, but there are times where it's drastic. There are times where an item will be $100 that's fed to you in the buy box. You click one button, you pay $100. You scroll down here. It might not be prime. It might not be 2-hour delivery, next day delivery, 2-day delivery, whatever it may be. But it might be, instead of 100, it might be 80. It might be 10, 20, 30% off. There are times where that happens. So just be aware that's what the buy box is. Just like eBay does, as we'll see in a little bit when I show you what their best match does. Amazon likes to feed you items that pay them slightly more at the end of the day. Whoever this is, it's Logitech themselves, they're probably paying to be in this prime real estate of the buy box. And as I mentioned at the opening slide, the same thing. If you want to talk the grocery store, Procter & Gamble, I believe they're the ones that make like Tide laundry detergent. You go down the laundry detergent aisle, there's probably 50 selections, but if you're walking down through the store, the main aisles, the end cap, manufacturers pay high fees. They pay higher fees to get on those end caps because you don't even have to go down the aisle. Someone who's going through the store quickly, oh, Tide catches their eye, they put that in their cart, boom, Procter & Gamble just made a sale. because of it. So it exists everywhere. It, as I said, consumers are fickle. You throw something shiny in front of them, they're probably going to buy it without too much due diligence, without too much additional research. TrollandToad never used to do this. TrollandToad only as of a few months ago started doing this. I'm actually covering it, unfortunately, but if I screw around with this, I'm going to end up, I guess I can move it really quickly. Let me see. So yeah, $67.95, as you see. So $67.95 is their buy box, Crown Zenith Elite Trainer box. And I don't fault TrollandToad at all. This is not a negative against TrollandToad. This is them advertising their own product, fulfilled by TrollandToad.com. So they own this product. Whatever they paid, $30, low 30s at wholesale price. Their wholesale price must be much more attractive than mine, given their volume. But they make the sale. They make the entire net minus their payment fees, minus their shipping and all that. It makes sense that TrollandToad wants to push their own item that they own. You got to scroll down. TrollandToad right here, they've got the buy box. If you click add to cart, it automatically adds TrollandToad. If you come down here, top of the 4 is TrollandToad. Makes sense. It's their website. It's their platform. But if you look closely, $67.95 is their price. Click that button right there. You can add up to 72. I don't know who this Evo merchant is, but they don't have a logo. Baked bread cards, Boomslang Games. How's it going, Boomslang? And then Catch 'em All Collectibles right in the middle. I'm tied. Must be Baked Bread Cards had the price first, but I'm tied with Baked Bread Cards, about 1 cent under Boomslang. And if you see, over $3 cheaper than TrollandToad themselves. So if TrollandToad has it in stock, they auto win the buy box. Makes sense. They make more money selling their own item than they do selling my item. But if and when TrollandToad does not have the item in stock, it would be the next merchant on the list. So Baked Bread Cards would win it here. If I lowered mine by 1 cent, I would win it there. But as you can see, one thing TrollandToad isn't doing now, maybe they'll do it someday, but honestly, it doesn't really make sense that they ever would. Why would they sell the ability to win the buy box over them when they make more money selling their own item? They're not going to be able to charge me a price that would make sense for me to pay so much that they'd rather charge me that extra, unless it's just obscene, and then I wouldn't pay it. So I don't ever see TrollandToad selling their buy box. They just own it. They own it. And I guess maybe if they don't have an item in stock, hopefully TrollandToad isn't listening and gets any ideas. But for now, if they have it in stock, they win the buy box. If they don't, it's lowest Evo merchant. So yeah, if you're shopping TrollandToad, be sure to keep an eye out for Catch 'em All Collectibles. That nice, sleek logo. For over a year, I had that black and white, just terrible looking logo that was really stretched thin. But I updated it several months back. A few months back when I did my branding. And yeah, so keep an eye out for Catch 'em All Collectibles. Usually the low list on TrollandToad Evo. You can see right here I'm tied. But yeah, Amazon, TrollandToad. Now let's look at eBay. So say you're buying one of my PSA 10. This is more, we've been talking a little bit about the seller side, and I guess it's seller side and buyer side throughout. So I'm covering both bases. Whether you're a buyer, seller, collector, flipper, investor, whatever you are, this is relevant to you. Say you're searching for that card that I showed earlier. Say you're searching for the PSA 10 Celebration Charizard. Best match is the default search. Best match means best for eBay, not for you. Kind of a joke. I mean, they are trying to show you what you're searching for, but realistically, they're trying to push things in front of you that are going to pay them more than if you scroll down or if you search by low list. So we'll scroll down best match and then we'll scroll down low list and we'll take a look at what's there. You can see I didn't win. I didn't win the buy box. I didn't win the first slot. This guy's at $280. I don't know what he's paying for his sponsored rate, but I'm paying anywhere from 12% on my $300 listing all the way down to 2% on my $250 listing. So whatever he's doing, newer listing, maybe he's got a higher sales rate, whatever it may be. Maybe he's just paying a higher sponsored fee. He won the best match. At least for this search term. If you do slightly different search terms, it might be someone else. It might be me. Second search result, $250 with $12.55 shipping. And then there you see it. So all my Charizard celebrations are listed the same. And except for the thing I use at the end where I do the last two of the cert number. And above my 250 listings, above my low list, 239, $229.95. You can see my sponsored listing. When you see sponsored, that means that they're paying to be there. They're being paid. They're paying to be put in front of your eyes. And it's funny too, as you scale down in price. This one is sponsored too. So the first few are sponsored, and then once you get past the 4 sponsored listings, you actually see the lowest list on eBay, I believe, unless I've been undercut since I started setting up to record this video. So $229.90. You have to scroll through 5 listings. If I sell this one, eBay makes 12% of $230, so they make like 23 plus. So they make like $27. They make like $27 if they sell this for me, but they make 72 if they sell this. So naturally, they're gonna try to make $72 before they make 23, right? Anyways, scrolling on down, you can see that best match does not mean best for you. It more means this is kind of what we think you're searching for, but it might be at a fair bit higher price. So that's the way that works. I just wanted to show that. And then if you change it to low list, I would always recommend people search for low list. I mean, whether you want to bid on auctions, cards like this tend to go for about what they're selling for is buy it now in auction. But whether you're buying auctions or not, I always search for low list and I start there. If you want to scroll through all the auctions, scroll through all the things that aren't really applicable, the things that aren't proper search terms coming up. But yeah, you see that I'm the first buy it now. Right now there's an auction that's already at 228.25 or 227.25. You might as well pay the extra couple bucks because one bid increment might take you over that. But yeah, anyways, big tip for buyers. A lot of people probably hear search by low list and they think like, what are you talking about, Dan? Like we always do. Everyone knows that. I promise me. I promise you, not everyone knows that because a lot of people just search more generic things and they, again, allergic to money. I have X amount of dollars. Show me something good and I'm going to buy it. And here's just a different search. PSA 10 Charizard. You can see with this search, different search terms, less specific, more just broad. PSA 10 Charizard. Now mine's the first one. Mine did not win the buy box on this search, but it did win the buy box on this search. This is a great tool that sellers should honestly do from time to time. I do not do this. I've not historically done this, but I'm trying to think about it more and more. And in a couple minutes, as we wrap up the video, I'll do the little exercise on here's a card. Tell me how you'd search for it. Because one thing I'm trying to do, I've for a long time, since I've been back into the hobby, probably 2015, probably a year in, several months to a year in, I established my formatting for how I was going to list my cards. I do company, grade, so PSA 10 gem. If I have the space, I'll do PSA 10 gem mint, and then I do the species, the set, and then whether it's a holo, I put in Pokemon card and then the set number at the end. If more people are searching 4 out of 1 of 2 Pokemon Charizard, whatever they're searching, you want to have that as close to the front as possible. So not only do you have 80 characters in a title to capture what the buyer's searching, but the first search term matters more than the last. So if they're searching PSA first, you want that first. If PSA is not in their search or they're putting it at the very end, you want to have it closer to the end. So basically, everything in your title is important, but there's a lot more priority given to the words up front. So think very carefully about the first 5-6 words you use because they are more relevant to the actual search. That's why I'm going to do the little test next. I know that certain people, I've looked at my competition, I've looked at James, I've looked at Rusty, I've looked at Nick, I've looked at Scott, I've looked at a lot of people, and some people use very similar to me. Some people do quite different too. And I honestly, it's very, very hard with 2,000 listings to know whether or not I can justify going through and changing them all and whether or not I'll see actual increased output. The issue with, if I take the time, if I take a full day to go and do it, maybe even more than a full day, I could just have by coincidence more sales or less sales. It might not even be related to that. So it's very, very hard. But when you do like go into an incognito browser so that none of your search history is logged in and just search random things that people might search and see where you come up. I think that's the most relevant thing you can do. You can see that I won the 2 sponsored listings. And then once you get out of the sponsored listings, I also won the first non-sponsored listing. So I'm very, very happy with the results of me searching PSA 10 Charizard, because I see that I'm dominating the search both for sponsored, pay to play, and not pay to play, just low list. Very, very happy to see that. It's a really good idea to not be logged in, incognito browser, however you want to do it. Just search out some of your listings and see if they're actually showing up. Because, major things, if you have a typo, if you spelled Charizard wrong, it's not going to show up. Like, always be sure that you're covering those bases properly. But getting in deeper is how you're ordering. Like, this person does year, Pokemon, then the species, and then at the end, they put the set number and the grade. Whether that's better or worse, I don't really know. I beat it here, I guess, in the search. So, yeah, pretty interesting things. Pretty deep down the rabbit hole. I've been selling on eBay for 8 years, and I have not given it as much consideration as I probably should. So, well, 8 years of Pokemon. My account's 19 years old this year sometime. 2004, I started my eBay. So that's pretty much it for today's video. If you have any questions or comments on any of the things I talked about, let me know. To end it off, for anyone who's made it to the end, if you were searching this card, I'm not going to say the name. If you just listen, please take a second to glance at your screen to look at the card. I don't want to skew what you type in the comments by saying the name of this card, because there's a certain way that I would refer to it. There's a certain way that I would list it as a seller. It's actually on my eBay right now if you're interested. Affiliate link below. But yeah, I'm really interested to see, because certain people would search different ways. And if you want to be up the ranks, you got to have those first terms that they're searching in the first spots of your title. So yeah, let me know in the comments below whether how would you list it and how would you search for it. They should overlap, because the way that I list is the way that I search. Yeah, so let me know in the comments below. I hope you found something useful from this video. I hope it was entertaining and or educating. That's usually what I go for here. But anyways, that's all I've got. I appreciate you all watching, and I will catch you all later.